I was at a local eatery downtown having a breakfast meeting on North Foster Street. And as the executive director for the Redevelopment Authority for Dothan Downtown, we own several properties that we revitalized. I actually got a phone call from the county commissioner saying, "Your building's on fire." And I thought he was joking with me, because we have that relationship. No, you're kidding. And he said, no, it's really on fire. And in a matter of minutes, from the time that it was reported, I believe at 10:26, to the time the fire department got there, maybe within less than 5 minutes, it was already fully engulfed.
In the past couple of years, I have a family member, an older brother, who has had some health issues last year especially, had been falling some, so I try to check on him. But he's fiercely independent. It's just try to keep up with him as best I can. And February 27th this year, I had a call to my office from a guy named Tim, who I didn't know, lives across the street from my brother, he said. And he told me that my brother had not picked up his newspaper in 2 days. Well, that alarmed me, because he's the age where the newspaper, the Dothan Eagle, is his lifeline, and he reads the paper. So I just left my office, canceled my office, and went over there, and I called him, couldn't get him, and knocked on the door, no answer. Couldn't see in the windows, but I knew something was wrong.
I was at my son's school at Slingnuff Elementary for a meeting with the principal, and I was having a headache, and from there I just kind of passed out.
Well, at the time we rolled up on it, I had to park a block away. The police department had already cordoned off the perimeter. The fire trucks were already on site. They were hosing the fire down already from the ladder trucks. There were several fire trucks on site.
So I went ahead and called 911, and I said, we need like a welfare check. And two patrol units, 2 police officers came out, and they were very attentive. And I said, "I know my brother's, something's happened to him." And they said, okay. And I described his health, some challenging issues he's had with his health. And I said, he falls. And I said, I just feel like something's happened.
The nurses started working on me, and it took the firefighters 6 minutes to get there before they got there, and they were able to use the defibrillator to revive me.
Nobody really knew what had happened or what had caused the fire. At that point, they were just concerned about containing it because it was already fully engulfed. They were concerned about the roof collapsing, and so they were just making sure that everybody stayed a safe distance back. We didn't know at that point if there was anybody in the building or not.
We started going through all the different protocols, and we tried to, get him to answer, no answer. So basically, the police officers basically just broke the front door down and went in, and we found him lying prone on the floor, and apparently he'd been there for a day and a half, and he was almost dead.
I came into the ER first, and they had to intubate me.
By the time they were on site from like 10:30 in the morning until maybe just after lunch, they finally got the fire put out. It was very hot.
His breathing was shallow, and anyway, we got him in the hospital, and he was in the intensive care unit for a couple of weeks, and he made a recovery, and he's an assistant, kind of one of the nursing homes here, and doing well.
I had to have a heart cath done first, but first they had to get the bleeding to stop, and I had to get blood transfusion, and so that took, and I was there at least 3 days before they did the heart cath. And then the 5th day is when they did my ICD, which I have a defibrillator now, and I was out of the hospital though within a week.
As a property owner and knowing the guys that were actually working the fire, they're our downtown station, Station 1, and our command post down there that the fire department set up. We had fire marshals on site. Those are our friends and neighbors we work with all the time from the fire department. They're at our events. We work with them strategically to plan a lot of our events. So those are my friends and neighbors.
Because of the first responders we have that came and helped with that, and the ambulance and the EMTs and the fire department that came, I think that really aided in getting him in the hospital, getting him to the emergency room. So he would have died there. So It's basically, and I called Chief Parrish and I told him, I said, these guys do a great job. And I said, I know a lot of times it's just human nature. People complain. You hear a lot of complaints. People are going to pick up the phone and tell you, oh, somebody did something wrong. But I called him and I said, I want you to know these young men, these officers are exceptional. They were very, very helpful. And, when I explained to him the situation, I said, I know he's in there. They listen and I think they believe me. They said, okay. I said, I know this guy. And could he have gone somewhere? I said, no, his car's here. He doesn't just go somewhere. His car's here. And they were super. They were very, very helpful. And I think they helped, along with the EMTs, the fire department and such, I think they helped basically save his life.
We have some of the most well-trained, well-organized units here in the city of Dothan. We are super blessed to have the teams that we have in leadership, and the guys on the ground running the trucks and the hoses, and the police department cordoning off, the perimeter. It was sort of just, I was in awe watching them do their thing. It's just another day in the life of what they do every day, the firefighters and the police officers. Because of the way that the fire department handled the situation and the police department contained the situation as well, we didn't have any loss of life. I think it's easy for us at the end of the day to go home and we can detach from our jobs and spend time with our family, but these guys really, it's 24/7. We ask a lot of them, and I think unless you're in a situation like that where you can really watch them do what they go to work to do every day and they're paid to do, you really don't really understand the perspective and their viewpoint until you can see them in action.
Well, I would say to them that, I guess I'm not saying they feel like their job is a job. They don't act that way, but their job is stressful. I think to a point that most civilians don't even comprehend how stressful it is, where they interact with people where they can get hurt or, be called ugly names or just, denigrated. But I think what I would want them to understand is the majority of people in this community support our police. They support our firefighters, support our EMTs, and they see them as being a very important part of our community, and they make it a better place.
I guess after going through it, I see that they put a lot of effort in their heart and soul into what they do. And I just want them to know that I appreciate their service and everything they do.